Been driving all night, my hands wet on the wheel. See how that story goes, because I'm very tired, everybody. I did night shift, a lot of long shifts, and I'm driving back from Edmonton. But newsfeed story, Montreal Gazette, and I know a lot of you want to address this, and it's a corruption of Trudeau. Has everything to do with the Edmonton Oilers Game 5 and 6 removed from CBC. Now, a week and a few days back, Justin Trudeau makes a major statement and says, well, we know no Canadian teams are going to make it. Basically throwing Alberta's Edmonton Oilers under the bus, trying to piss Albertans off. Now, everybody, I'm the Alberta successionist guy, and I tagged Corey Morgan in this because it's important. Corey was before me, folks, and we both did the Alberta independence thing. I've come a long way, everybody, in a lot of years. Now, I believe in sovereignty. I believe in independence. I'd love to fix all of Canada. I'd even love to see Alberta succeed from Canada, but as I've advanced, I've been all over the world. There's not a independent secessionist leader out there from all of USA and many states, right across the ocean to the UK and its countries. There's a number of them. Been in contact with all of them. Spain, African nations. It goes on and on, folks. And I've got 3 U.S. states, 3. If there's anyone who knows about independence, it's me. I ran the Alberta Independence Party. We ran a majority. Now, Trudeau's in a lot of trouble, folks, right now with his standing in Canada against Pierre Poilievre. Now, I have no use for any of the Crown. Not the Libs, absolutely not the Libs. And not the Conservatives or the Dippers. The Cons are the exact same thing as the Liberals, and the Dippers are no different than any other constitutional monarchy, Labour Party, and any of its narratives and derivatives. You'll find, everybody, I've been all over the world with the world's greatest minds, and now I'm going piece by piece in all 193 UN states. Later today, I'm going to get a couple hours sleep. I regret my choices at work. I should have left yesterday, but neither here nor there. I'm in Costa Rica, but I'm learning each and every UN state intimately in their legal systems, all their follies, their constitutions, which Canada's a pervert of the old world, a sick design. Oh, here we go again, right, guys? It's an important video. I'm going to continue, even if it interrupts. Sorry, everybody, but it's a big one. It's important. Alberta independence, or any province or territory independence, requires dismemberment of the Crown. And I know this concept, I didn't go into tremendous detail. I gave the legal path to independence with the United Nations Security Councils. That's the only way any region or country could ever get independence legally and on the world stage, put on the globe, and you're a nation, functioning nation with your own government, self-determination, self-government, and settlement of all the evil that was bestowed upon your region or country from another empire or evil doing. Usually 99 out of 100, a monarchical rule that instruments subjectivity or savagery. Some of those kingdoms call them peasants, and Canada's no exception. We're actually the oldest codified example in the entire world, and I am going to do the entire world before Christmas. I'm going to finish the whole world. and I'm going to get a designation in international law, which is pretty good for a guy who doesn't have a law degree, and pretty good that it's on the world stage, recognized by both Russia and USA, which is very important to me. I care less about Canada. Why get into the Edmonton Oilers, folks? We haven't been to the Stanley Cup since 1993. Trudeau purposely threw Edmonton Oilers, Alberta under the bus. He's trying to drive up successionism, hoping that the Conservatives will lose steam because independence will grow again and he'll win out in the East. That's his latest tactic. Folks, the way Canada's designed in all its evil, which is all provinces, none of us get out of it, even with the upper and lower Canada divide, even with Quebec's extra powers of Senate, even with Ontario's Supreme Executive Powers Act. Quebec has one too, beyond the others. It's inequality of the person, which is equity of the person. There's a little more equity for more in Ontario and Quebec than the rest of the other provinces. We don't even have equality in our crown. That's how bad Canada is. It's a sick design, old and disturbed. Now, Trudeau wants to divide out Conservatives, split votes, trying to drive up a succession. He used state media. He's the Crown Prime Minister. And it's not only Trudeau who has that power. Every Prime Minister we've ever had has had that power. Our state media purposely cancelled Game 5 and 6. Did you know that's never ever happened in all of NHL history in Canada by the CBC? Trudeau made his little speech. They cancelled Game 5 and 6. No peasant, we call it peasant vision, meaning no rural Canadian was allowed to watch the Oilers Game 5 and 6. It's to drive resentment. It's to steer many, especially the home base, Alberta, of the Conservatives. Again, I don't support any crown. I don't support the Conservatives. But I won't help Trudeau in a bullshit narrative of succession. And why I say that, I gave the UNSC legal path. The problem is none of the First Peoples want it. There's a thing called the Wampum Belt. Now, First Peoples believe the Wampum Belt is between them and the Crown in Canada. And it's not according to the Crown. First Peoples in the Wampum Belt are with the subjects, canoe beside canoe. The First Peoples were cheated initially by the Crown in the Wampum Belt, thinking that they were royal like the royalty of the Crown. And that has never, ever been the case. It was always, you're with the slaves, we're the superior human beings, we're lying to you, just like they lie to all Canadians. I teach strength for Canadian people and First Peoples by uniting them. That's the only way not only to fix Canada, but to actually separate regions properly before going to the UNSC on either matter, because you can't get either done without the UNSC's support. I would like to fix Canada along the way, do it ourselves, and not end up like many other nations who get imposed constitutions, imposed settlement of claims, imposed land back, where it can make things even worse sometimes. This is especially bad because two of the UNSC are UK and France, who won't support either anyway and will veto it all because they make tremendous amount of money off their colonial jewel called Canada. It created many jewels around the world. And France, republic or not, still has all those crown colonial jewels. They use their executive in the same way in international law and treaties to bypass their own constitution and their own free people democratic society. They may have a civil law system that doesn't allow that domestically, but it doesn't stop the executive and the elites in France from doing that anyway. And many European nations where France is the holder of Europe as UNSC member, many of them are completely on board with it as unitaries. Lots of corruption throughout the world in many nations. 2 of them are really bad, folks. Now, Trudeau's hoping to drive a wedge and make this an issue. It's funny when you read this story, it's in the Montreal Gazette. I also tag Yves Blanchette in this too, as he knows full well as the Bloc Québécois and party of the separatists there, Parti Québécois, and how Quebec runs in Canada with the different Executive Powers Act that Alberta doesn't have and will never ever have, no matter how much you want to believe in that. There are 11 amendments done in Canada throughout its history that nobody ever talks about. It's never taught in schools. It's never talked about. It leads to a lot of propaganda. I can tell you I have the best legal minds in all of the world. Canada's 2 top best, who of course were bought out by the United States, which I'm glad. They can do a lot more work. 1 from Quebec, 1 from Ottawa, folks. And they're in the highest halls of the United States now with a tremendous amount of American academics, the best of the best in constitutionalism. These guys all know the truth, but Canada keeps it from you. We, the people, could exist, but it requires all the Canadian-defined subjects, all the Canadian-defined savages, which are the First Peoples. These are not my words, Canadians and First Peoples. This is your legal design in Canada at the highest laws by that dirty, corrupt, filthy crown. The same crown that will divide you out using CBC to cancel Games 5 and 6 of the Edmonton Oilers to drive you all into independence or get that mindset going because you're angry. And that's what he's really trying to do. He's hoping someone like me is going to come along and bring up the torch. But I can tell you, as a master of independence, it won't work. It won't work. And we can't get real, true independence until we destroy the crown. And for that, I will teach every Canadian, as many as I can, I will teach them the truth of this and what we have to do. Not only all Canadians, all First Peoples. I'm going to be starting here in my limited time off here. I'm going to be starting Treaty 7. A lot of First Peoples believe they were awarded a great and grandiose judgment from the Supreme Court of Canada, King's Court, a joke, because they gave a ruling but absolutely zero remedy. That's how Canada works. The Crown Prime Minister can order the Supreme Court to make many opinions or take on many judgments and make them, but never give a remedy, meaning you get nothing and there's no enforcement. That's the sickness that's always been in Canada. It always will be. And we have a twisted lot of cons, libs, dippers, the works of them, from every aisle, who only exist to lie, cheat, steal, and screw all of you over. All Canadians, all First Peoples. Search your soul, you know it's true. This video is deadly accurate, credible, and verifiable. There is no independence when you bring the crown with you. Think about it. And you'll never win the United Nations Security Council that you need to get it. You can't even fix Canada without it. And that's the work I do, and that's the teaching I teach. You can't get independence without the First Peoples, any region, or even in Canada, to get status of citizenry. because they've got a corrupted crown system where it's two classes of people, subjects and savages, in two canoes. The first peoples were lied to and told, no, you're in the canoe with the crown, but they're not. Now they have a chief system, they have an elite that they put into the crown, the 0.002%, just like the rest of the greasy, corrupt Canadians. Anyone who touches the crown becomes deadly corrupt, and in record time too. It's not a racial thing. It's a well-developed pyramid scheme over thousands of years, and they're really good at it. And this is Justin Trudeau's latest dirty stunt to try and build that back and somehow put a dent in the conservative base. It's not going to work, because I'll educate people. The master of independence in my time and in my life, and you'll never get one on me, Trudeau. It's important to share this video, everybody. Get it out there. Educate as many as you can. The crown is sick, disgusting, perverted. We're making dents every day. A lot of folks are waking up little by little. We have no civics in this country. We have no legal system that trains you on anything. I can tell you, in my international law class, when it was Canada's turn, a Superior Court justice I made a living ass out of, and all the students from around the world that were in there thought Canada was a joke. They know Canada's a joke. I can't wait for it to be mainstream, and it's not a matter of if, but when. It will come out. It was just funny to see so many countries laughing at Canada because they think they got everybody fooled. They got Canadians and a lot of First Peoples fooled in their institution. They're a propaganda machine. But the rest of the world's waking up to it, at least in the highest academic institutions. And I love being along for the ride in my life and in my time. It's a beautiful thing. Share this truth. Get it out there. Don't let Trudeau win. I don't like any of them, but I'm not going to ever help Trudeau to get somewhere where he shouldn't be anymore. That guy's got to go. We need to destroy the crown. That means all of them. But I'll never use that concept to strengthen any crown. God bless everybody. Bye now.